kiss of fire. The beating of the drums accompanied Lenar's rapid heartbeat, which felt as if it were about to burst out of his chest. The bare feet of men and women pounded the earth around him at a frenzied pace, only heightening the almost man's anxiety. The great flames reflected in the young man's panicked face. For as long as Lenar could remember, he had been taught various important lessons: to avoid leaving ripe fruit near groups of monkeys, not to sit on anthills, and never to eat fish that smelled like anything other than the sea. He was also warned about the upcoming ritual he would one day face, the moment he feared most, known as the kiss of fire. The day of the ritual had finally arrived. There he was, along with the rest of the boys and girls his age who would become adults that day. What exactly the rite of passage consisted of was one of the best-kept secrets. No one knew what they had to do until they had the opportunity to experience it. Fire was a key part of the Lenar tribe's existence. It was the meeting place where, every night, they gathered around a huge bonfire. The elders told stories of the mischievous and tireless gods, and the younger ones listened with great interest and emotion, even though they already knew every word. The long orange flames on the tips of large sticks protected them from the wildest beasts. Even the food tasted different as it was seasoned and smoked in the fire's heat. Now it was Lenar's turn to prove to this fiery and vigorous god that he was a worthy member of the tribe. The ritual that took place that night under the moonlight was not only the act most feared by all the inhabitants of the town of Lenar, but also the most eagerly awaited by every child. It was the moment of transition when each member of the community left childhood behind and embraced adulthood, gaining the authority to love, explore, and engage in all the formerly forbidden temptations. One of the wrinkled old men of the tribe stood before Lenar and offered him a ladle filled with a liquid made from fermented fruit, which he had taken from an earthenware jar. Drinking the elixir of the gods was part of the ritual, intended to give him the courage to face the task before him. It was a brown, lumpy, disgusting substance, but Lenar swallowed it without question, watching as the girl next to him did the same, knowing it was what was expected of him. There were many things he didn't know about what was about to happen, but some had been explained to him repeatedly throughout his short life, so that he wouldn't forget them. Each of the four elements played a vital role in the life of the tribe, but fire was king, and for this reason, none of the other elements should be used during the event. He couldn't cry or urinate, as the presence of water would put out the flames. He couldn't scream, because the wind would offend the bonfire. Nor could he roll on the ground to put out the fire, as doing so would invalidate the ritual, and he would not be able to become an adult. Under the watchful eye of his entire tribe, Lenar tried to remember the rules and wondered if he would really be able to follow them. At that moment, the hands of his father, uncles, and brothers surrounded him, smearing him from head to toe with a transparent, oily substance that smelled more horrible than he could have imagined. The smell was nothing compared to the panic Lenar felt inside his body. Most of the men and women of the tribe stood on the other side of a barrier of fire before the children. It was becoming more and more evident what the ritual consisted of. It was close enough to what he had feared all his life, though he had always held on to a small hope, which now vanished before him like evaporating water. His father gave him a loud slap on the buttocks, before giving him a cheerful wink and joining the rest of the tribe's adults. If he had any doubts in his mind, now there was only certainty. He had to cross the line of fire before him to finally become an adult and a worthy member of the tribe. The air froze for an instant. The flames seemed to stop crackling and Lenar's heart stopped in his chest. Suddenly a soft whisper could be heard, a group of voices reciting a song as old as the earth itself, calling to the children from the other side of the bonfire. The melody grew louder, and Lenar's heart began to pound restlessly again. The voices grew stronger, calling to the little ones, inviting them to cross the fire. The sound, which had become almost a series of low screams, seemed to flow from the very bowels of the planet, transforming into flesh, blood, wind, and finally, fire. He was both nature and man, in a communion that was demonic and holy at the same time. Possessed by the infernal rhythm, all the children went through the fire, and Lenar went with them. Against all odds, the flames did not burn his skin or singe Lenar's curly hair. He passed through the fire, becoming an honorable member of his tribe without experiencing any pain or suffering. He had reached adulthood, the thing he had wanted all his life, yet the moment of passage left him feeling indifferent. His father looked at him excitedly and lovingly ruffled his hair. Lenar was happy to have come of age, but there was something that continued to bother him. While walking toward the beach for the second unofficial part of the ritual, ridding the new adults of that stinky oil, Lenar asked his father about what bothered him so much. Laughing, his father replied that the ritual was never meant to hurt, that it was just a way of knowing if he was prepared to face the fear and pain of what was to come. Lenar wasn't quite sure what being an adult meant, but he figured it couldn't be as horrible as burning alive. In any case, it wasn't worth thinking about. Now it was time to splash in the water. Time would teach him.